which culminates in the Ascender's comprehension of the Supreme Being while passing through the worlds of the sixth Havona circuit. The Universal Father, the Eternal Son, and the Infinite Spirit are existential deity manifestations to intelligent creatures, and are not, therefore, similarly expanded in personality relations with the mind and spirit creatures of all creation. It should be noted that ascending mortals may experience the impersonal presence of successive levels of deity long before they become sufficiently spiritual and adequately educated to attain experiential personal recognition of and contact with these deities as personal beings. Each new evolutionary attainment within a sector of creation, as well as every new invasion of space by divinity manifestations, is attended by simultaneous expansions of deity functional revelation within the then existing and previously organized units of all creation. This new invasion of the administrative work of the universes and their component units may not always appear to be executed exactly in accordance with the technique herewith outlined, because it is the practice to send forth advanced groups of administrators to prepare the way for the subsequent and successive eras of new administrative overcontrol. Even God the Ultimate foreshadows his transcendental overcontrol of the universes during the later stages of a local universe settled in light and life. It is a fact that, as the creations of time and space are progressively settled in evolutionary status, there is observed a new and fuller functioning of God the Supreme, concomitant with a corresponding withdrawing of the first three manifestations of God the Sevenfold. If and when the grand universe becomes settled in light and life, what then will be the future function of these creative manifestations of God the Sevenfold, if God the Supreme assumes direct control of these creations of time and space? Are these organizers and pioneers of the time-space universes to be liberated for similar activities in outer space? We do not know, but we speculate much concerning these and related matters. As the frontiers of experiential deity are extended out into the domains of the unqualified Absolute, we envision the activity of God the Sevenfold during the earlier evolutionary epochs of these creations of the future. We are not all in agreement respecting the future status of the Ancients of Days and the super-universe Master Spirits. Neither do we know whether or not the Supreme Being will therein function as in the seven super-universes. But we all conjecture that the Michaels, the Creator Sons, are destined to function in these outer universes. Some hold that the future ages will witness some closer form of union between the associated Creator Sons and Divine Ministers. It is even possible that such a Creator union might eventuate in some new expression of associate Creator identity of an ultimate nature. But we really know nothing about these possibilities of the unrevealed future. We do know, however, that in the universes of time and space, God the Sevenfold provides a progressive approach to the Universal Father, and that this evolutionary approach is experientially unified in God the Supreme. We might conjecture that such a plan must prevail in the outer universes. On the other hand, the new orders of beings that may sometime inhabit these universes may be able to approach deity on ultimate levels and by apsonite techniques. In short, we have not the slightest concept of what technique of deity approach may become operative in the future universes of outer space. Nevertheless, we deem that the perfected super-universes will in some way become a part of the Paradise Ascension careers of those beings who may inhabit these outer creations. It is quite possible that in that future age we may witness outer spacers approaching Havona through the seven super-universes administered by God the Supreme, with or without the collaboration of the seven Master Spirits. 8. The Supreme Unifier. The Supreme Being has a threefold function in the experience of mortal man. First, he is the unifier of time-space divinity, God the Sevenfold. Second, he is the maximum of deity which finite creatures can actually comprehend. Third, he is mortal man's only avenue of approach to the transcendental experience of consorting with Absonite mind, eternal spirit, and paradise personality. Ascendant phenalators, having been born in the local universes, nurtured in the super-universes, and trained in the central universe, embrace in their personal experiences the full potential of the comprehension of the time-space divinity of God the Sevenfold, unifying in the Supreme. Finalators serve successively in super-universes other than those of nativity, thereby superimposing experience upon experience until the fullness of the sevenfold diversity of possible creature experience has been encompassed. Through the ministry of the indwelling adjusters, the finalators are enabled to find the Universal Father, but it is by these techniques of experience that such finalators come really to know the Supreme Being, and they are destined to the service and the revelation of this Supreme Deity in and to the future universes of outer space. Bear in mind all that God the Father and His Paradise Sons do for us, we in turn and in spirit have the opportunity to do for and in the emerging Supreme Being. The experience of love, joy, and service in the universe is mutual. God the Father does not need that His sons should return to Him all that He bestows upon them, but they do, or may, in turn bestow all of this upon their fellows and upon the evolving Supreme Being. All creational phenomena are reflective of antecedent Creator Spirit activities. Said Jesus, and it is literally true, the Son does only those things which He sees the Father do. In time, you mortals may begin the revelation of the Supreme to your fellows, and increasingly may you augment this revelation as you ascend paradiseward. In eternity, you may be permitted to make increasing revelations of this God of evolutionary creatures on supreme levels, even ultimate, as seventh-stage finalators. 9. Universal Absolute Unity. The unqualified Absolute and the Deity Absolute are unified in the Universal Absolute. The Absolutes are coordinated in the Ultimate, conditioned in the Supreme, and time-space modified in God the Sevenfold. On sub-infinite levels there are 3 Absolutes, but in infinity they appear to be 1. On Paradise there are 3 personalizations of Deity, but in the Trinity they are 1. The major philosophic proposition of the Master Universe is this: did the Absolute, the 3 Absolutes as one in infinity, exist before the Trinity? And is the Absolute ancestral to the Trinity? Or is the Trinity antecedent to the Absolute? Is the unqualified Absolute a force presence independent of the Trinity? Does the presence of the Deity Absolute connote the unlimited function of the Trinity? And is the Universal Absolute the final function of the Trinity, even a Trinity of Trinities? On first thought, a concept of the Absolute as ancestor to all things, even the Trinity, seems to afford transitory satisfaction of consistency gratification and philosophic unification. But any such conclusion is invalidated by the actuality of the eternity of the Paradise Trinity. We are taught, and we believe, that the Universal Father and His Trinity associates are eternal in nature and existence. There is, then, but one consistent philosophic conclusion, and that is, the Absolute is, to all universe intelligences, the impersonal and coordinate reaction of the Trinity of Trinities. To all basic and primary space situations, intra-universal and extra-universal. To all personality intelligences of the grand universe, the Paradise Trinity forever stands in finality, eternity, supremacy, and ultimacy, and, for all practical purposes of personal comprehension and creature realization, as absolute. As creature minds may view this problem, they are led to the final postulate of the universal I Am as the primal cause and the unqualified source of both the Trinity and the Absolute. When, therefore, we crave to entertain a personal concept of the Absolute, we revert to our ideas and ideals of the Paradise Father. When we desire to facilitate comprehension or to augment consciousness of this otherwise impersonal Absolute, we revert to the fact that the Universal Father is the existential Father of absolute personality. The Eternal Son is the Absolute Person, though not in the experiential sense, the personalization of the Absolute. And then we go on to envisage the experiential trinities as culminating in the experiential personalization of the Deity Absolute, while conceiving the universal